This is the Influencer Entrepreneurs Podcast with Jenny Melrose, where I strategize with business owners on how to grow and scale their businesses to hit their income goals. This is episode 259 of the Influencer Entrepreneurs Podcast with Jenny Melrose. Today, we're talking about Instagram features year in review and what's to come in 2022 for Instagram as a blogger and influencer. Now, before we dive into that, I want to make sure that if you haven't already grabbed my Instagram engagement guide, that you do so. It is going to help you to make sure that you set yourself up as the expert. And as you're going to hear me talk about in this episode, that is what is coming for 2022. Being able to set yourself apart as the expert so that your audience knows what to expect from you. Numerous times throughout 2021, throughout 2020, we have talked about the importance of building your brand with Instagram. And we're going to continue to see that direction taking place. Instagram is your opportunity to get in front of your people and for them to really know who you are and what you stand for. And when doing so, you need to be clear on what content you're creating. We always hear for Google that it's important that you niche, that you know your people, know what to expect when they come to your site. If you're a lifestyle site, it's a little bit more difficult to do so. And it makes it difficult for you to then rank with Google. It's the same thing with Instagram. Your people don't know what to expect from you. It's not going to continue to grow your business in the right direction. Too often, we continue to see people try to use the features of Instagram that are doing well, go viral, but go viral on something that has nothing to do with the content that they share. They saw something that was trending and decided that they were going to talk about how their husband's a pain and won't do any of the laundry either. Yet, they're a food blogger or they're a DIY home decor blogger. You talking about your husband, sure, it's relatable to people, and when that goes viral, they're coming to you for funny things about you making fun of your husband. They're not coming to you for the DIY home decor content. So what ends up happening is your account may grow, but your engagement is going to suffer because of it. So when we're looking at 2022, we really need to start to think about how can I make sure my people know who I am? And the Instagram engagement guide that I offer for you guys for free, that you can just send me a DM on Instagram at Jenny_Melrose and tell me you want the Instagram engagement guide and I'll send it directly to you, is going to help you set yourself up as the expert right within your profile so that you can make sure you're not wasting time attracting the wrong people. It's about attracting the right people, the people that you want to continue to create the content for. So let's dive into these Instagram features. We know what has kind of happened in 2021. And I want to do a quick review because some of these are going to continue to be important in line with setting yourself up as an expert. So back in July, Instagram CEO stated we're no longer a photo sharing app. And I know that for a lot of people that see themselves as photographers first, this is especially true for my food bloggers because your photos are so important and your food photography is so beautiful and you've spent so much time on it that when this came out, this was extremely frustrating for you. And I understand that. But there are ways that you can get around this. And we've talked about it on the podcast. You've heard different people come in. Brock Johnson came in back in episode 257 and talked a little bit about how, as a food blogger, you can continue to use Instagram Reels. Because right now, we're continuing to see that for the year of 2021, Instagram Reels were the most important way for you to be able to grow. It was the fastest way for you to be able to grow, especially if you used them correctly. And like we talked about in the beginning, you didn't try to just do trending videos that had nothing to do with your content. If you were going to do a trending video, you made it specific to your niche, specific to the content that you're going to create. So there was a fashion one in particular where you always saw them, they would throw the clothes and all of a sudden they would pop up with all the different outfits. Well, I also used that trending video, but it wasn't about the outfits. It was about the content that I wrote with it. So finding ways to make a trending video part of your brand was extremely important and is going to continue to be important. So obviously Reels was one of the ways in which you could do this. Reels, we also found when we talked to Brittany Cross, and she talked about how you can use Reels in order to build your brand, in order to set yourself apart and let people really know who you are. So for 2021, I would definitely say that Reels were probably the number one thing that people were paying attention to and will continue in 2022. Now, there were also lots of other things that happened throughout the year. We saw that with feed posts, so pictures or video that went straight to your feed, you no longer needed to have a perfect grid. For a really long time, we saw Instagram experts spouting off information about how your feed needed to be perfect. It needed to be symmetrical. It needed to have colors. Now, we have watched as we have seen others now say that it's not necessary. You obviously don't want to have ugly, dark photos that are not going to attract people, but it's not necessary to have it symmetrical and perfect the way that many had been protesting was necessary a year or two ago. It also comes down to what we have seen is that we've watched carousel photos actually do really well. And in the way in which carousel photos are doing well is we're not necessarily seeing them get seen by new people, but the carousel photos are there for your people that are already following you. They are continuing to get information from it, knowledge from those carousel photos, and are continuing to see you as, again, the expert. We watched as those continued to get shares, they got more likes, they continued to really put people in. By creating that content, you put yourself in front of them more as that expert. And we saw different experts right now that are talking. Lucas O'Keefe has talked about the importance of carousel photo. We've also seen Brock Johnson, who also, as you know, was on the podcast, who have talked about their carousel photos and how the information that goes into those have to be valuable content. It can't be about just a pretty photo. It needs to be more of explaining to them how this is going to help solve their problem. So even if we're a food blogger and we're putting up a recipe, tell me how that's going to solve my problem. Tell me how that cocktail is going to be perfect for Valentine's Day, or that DIY that you're going to do is an easy way to create a wedding centerpiece, whatever your niche is. You need to be able to solve that problem. Yes, I want to see those beautiful photos, but with those photos, I want to know how I can solve my problem with what you're showing me. So we have feed posts, and we also have the carousels that were important in 2021. Another thing that was important, of course, was Instagram stories. So we talked a little bit about feed posts are meant for the people that are already following you to see you as an expert. They can often get pushed out to newer people as well. We know that Reels are for drawing in new people. With Instagram stories, they're meant for the people that are already following you as well. And what we saw happen in 2021 is what I have been saying for years, to not worry about 10,000 followers, not worrying about swipe up, because as Instagram showed you with their new link feature that came out towards, in November-ish, October, end of October for some people, that link that is now inside stories is available to everyone. It doesn't matter if you have 2 followers or if you have 200,000 followers. That's not what matters. So it levels the playing field, especially when we're talking about for brands. Brands, when they were looking to work with people, would often, for influencers, would want to have the ability to have that swipe up. I always told you to tell them there were better ways to be able to have that, but now it's an easy way to be able to show that you can have that ability for them to be able to click through from a story. Now, this should go without saying, but we still need to make sure that we are emphasizing the importance of getting into your DMs. So yes, you can have that link feature, but also still use the poll feature the way that I talk about in stories, where you give them an opportunity to raise their hand to be able to come into their actual DMs with a live link by asking them if they want the recipe or would they rather this over that, whatever it might be, so that you can then have that live link to be able to go right into your DMs. Because as much as I stressed about the fact that it's not a big deal about $10,000, you don't want to have swipe up anyways, you don't even necessarily need to use it. It's the same thing with the link feature. You don't necessarily need to use it because you still want to get into their DMs. Yes, you can have it as an opportunity for them to click, but until people really understand how to use it, especially those that are not part of the blogger influence that are on there using it, you have to teach your audience how to actually click on that. So making sure you're using stickers where you're using those links inside your stories, arrows explaining, come in and do a floating head and explain, like if you see a link, that link is going to take you directly to the outfit I'm wearing or directly to the kitchen equipment I'm using in order to make this recipe that you're watching me do in stories. So it's important that you, again, train them on how to use it, but don't solely rely on that link button. Yes, it's important. It's more important for you to be able to say to a brand, hey, I don't need 10,000 followers to be able to have that direct link click through. I have it. I will use it in one of my stories as maybe part of the campaign that we're working on, but I'm going to continue to do my polls and get my direct messages so that my engagement continues to be high. That is still going to continue to be important in 2022. Your engagement, not the number of followers. Because like we talked about in the beginning with the idea of Reels being able to attract whomever, if you're not on brand with the content that you are creating, that's going to diminish your engagement. So continuing to make sure that you stay in your lane with your content, letting people know what they can expect from you, and then being able to deliver that engagement to brands on sponsored content is going to continue to be extremely important. More and more brands are going to continue to put their money into sponsored content, and they are especially going to be looking to do that continually on Instagram, especially with the way that Reels make it so easy, as well as stories and, of course, beats to the post. You have so much that you're able to do inside Instagram as compared to something like TikTok, which just has the ability for Reels, really. Okay, and of course, I know TikTok was before Reels, but we're just going to leave it at that. Okay. The other thing that definitely changed was that lives are now saved under your IGTVs. In the past, when you did an Instagram live, whether you did it as collaboration with someone or you just went live yourself, that live would be good for 24 hours and then it would go away, kind of the way your stories do. But now Instagram is automatically moving your lives right to your IGTV. So it gives them that video content that they can still go back to. Will we continue to see people using that in 2022? Again, I think it's going to be important if you are using it to build up your brand. If you are just randomly going on to lives and they are not specific to your niche, it's not going to benefit you. So with everything that you continue to do moving forward in 2022, think about how you can show yourself as that expert. And also keep in mind, you want to make sure that you are attempting to get people from Instagram onto your email list. We don't want to solely build our business on rented property. I don't know how many times I have said that, but will continue to yell it from the rooftops. You cannot rely solely on building your business on rented property. And that is exactly what Instagram is. So as much as Instagram wants people to stay within the actual application, which it is their product, that is their right to be able to want to do that. But it should be our attempt to try to get those followers from Instagram onto your list, because they obviously are interacting with you, especially if you have engagement and you're getting comments in your DMs. Get a way for them to be able to get onto your list. Offer your guide. Tell them to send you a DM on Instagram so that you can get them and offer them something like an Instagram engagement guide like I do. I'm trying to give you an example. Or if you have a cauliflower ebook and they are interacting with a cauliflower post, that's a great opportunity to be able to talk about the fact that you have that cauliflower ebook and can send them a DM with the link directly to it so that you can get them from Instagram onto your list. It is going to continue to be important that you do that. As we move forward, as we see things like web stories and idea pins, where we're watching to see how those are going to play out for traffic as bloggers, it is going to continue to be important, and with emphasis solely relying on the fact that you have to grow your list. Brands are going to understand the importance of your list as they continue to see the trends and things that are going to continue to come down. You need to know things like your open rate and your click-through rate, because that's what brands see as important. So as we're looking at 2022 and what is going to continue to come, setting yourself up as that expert is going to be the key thing that you can do. Now, I know some of you are probably sitting back and saying, well, I'm not an expert in anything. I create recipes that are easy for moms to do. Okay, what's your special sauce? What would your friends say is your special sauce? This is important so that you truly understand your branding. If you stay in that gray, I do what everyone else does, you're not going to continue to grow. It's not going to be a business. It's everyone else out there and their mother doing the same thing. I'm telling you, each of you have your own voice. Your voice has been created by the circumstances that have led you to this part of your journey, this place where you are right now on your path. That has molded you into who you are. Continue to share what you have to solve the problems that maybe you had. You have to be able to show people how they can do that, and no one else can do that. Your voice is created by the circumstances that you have gone through in order to get to the point that you're at. And for some of us, maybe we had huge, devastating things happen to us as kids. Or maybe we had that perfect childhood where nothing went wrong. It still has made you who you are. And your beliefs and what you see as being important to put back out into the world is enough for you to understand and try to figure out what sets you apart. So I know I talked about 2022 being that expert. And I know for a lot of women, when they hear that, they kind of do the, wait a second, Jenny, I'm not an expert. Don't even try to tell me about this. I don't want to talk about this. It's that imposter syndrome. It's that I'm not good enough. It's time to take 2022 to make it the year of you. Just make it about who you are. All of the messy things that have happened, the good things that have made you who you are, and roll with it. Just stand into it and see yourself as that expert. And know that if you are still standing at the point that you are at right now, 2022, you survived a pandemic with however many kids that needed to be homeschooled, with however many things happened with your husband job or your side hustle, or we have gone through so much in the past 2 years that I really need you to take the pain and the things that have happened to you and move forward stronger and ready to help the people in your life, outside of your life even, by attracting and creating that content that is meant for that ideal audience. No one can talk to them the way that you can. So I'm going to challenge you for 2022. I want you to use your voice for good. I'm not telling you to go out there and do anything crazy. I don't want you to start a non-for-profit. Nothing like that. Instead, do something for good by helping a mom or helping someone else solve a problem that they have. That's all it is. Being kind is simple as holding the door open. So when you are actually kind in creating content, it's by inspiring other people to try different things in their lives that maybe are going to free up time so they can spend more time with their kids, or it's going to give them a chance to actually pay attention to themselves and do something for themselves. We need that. We as women and moms need that. So I truly, truly hope that you are going to step into this challenge and be that expert, because there's someone out there that needs you. There's someone out there that needs to hear your voice and understand your circumstances and see themselves in you so that they can continue their journey and better their life. All right, you guys, I know we went from Instagram features to really putting a full force challenge on you for 2022, but it's necessary. It's necessary for you to take that leap in yourself and in your business. And I believe in you. I believe in each and every one of you. And part of this journey of building a business online is you have to believe in yourself. You cannot expect other people to believe in you and then that's going to move you forward. You have to know that you can do it. And I know you can. So I hope that you will continue to take this journey. All right, you guys. If you haven't already grabbed my Instagram engagement guide, I would love it if you would send me a DM on Instagram at Jenny_Melrose, and I will send that directly to you. I also always appreciate it when you leave a rating and review on your favorite podcasting app. If something you hear on an episode affects you, if it resounds with you, tell me what it is. Let me know that, because as much as it obviously benefits to have more reviews so that I can bring on other people, it also helps me better understand the content that you need. When there's certain words and certain topics that really resonate with all of you, it helps me to be able to continue to create content that's in line with what you were looking for. And if you think it really sucked, tell me so that I don't continue to create content like that. Give me a review that says that I hate this topic. Don't ever talk about it again. That's fine. I need to know that, because as we all know, it's difficult to get anybody to talk to us anymore. Whether we're trying to do it on our blogs, whether we're trying to do it on Instagram DMs, people don't have as much time as they used to. And I understand that, but I also so appreciate it when you take the time to leave that rating and review. All right, you guys, until next time, I will see you all then.